Okay, standard form of quadratic. So we're going to kind of do the same thing we just got done doing, except it's not going to start in vertex form. We're going to start it in standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. We are going to go back to the vertex form. You don't get a lot of the a's in front for some of the stuff we're going to deal with. When I do it in vertex form, I generally don't put stuff in front to have you do things with as far as finding certain points and things. So to find a vertex from standard form, this is probably the most important part for what we're dealing with today. To find the x-coordinate of your vertex, this is the x-coordinate, is minus b over 2a, which, if you remember the quadratic formula, should look familiar. Okay, this is part of what you get from the quadratic formula. This gives you the x-coordinate of the vertex. Once you find the x-coordinate, to find the y-coordinate, you take that value of x, plug it into the original equation, and figure out what y is. Okay, this gives you the x-coordinate to find y. You put it back into the original equation. This is going to be an important one. And these are one of the ones that I would really make sure you have memorized. Okay. So find the vertex of each parabola, sketch the parabola, list the vertex, axis of symmetry, max or min, and the y-intercept. Awful lot going on for one problem at a time. But once you find the vertex, it's not hard. There's a lot of work involved, but it's not difficult work, and we did a lot of it just a little bit ago. So the first thing you need to do is you need to find the x-coordinate of your vertex. That's minus b over 2a. This is a, this is b, this is c, a, b, c. So the x-coordinate is minus b over 2a. Negative 12 over 2 times 2. Write it down. Don't simplify it in your head. Most mistakes come when kids don't write crap down first. They try to do everything in their head. And then mistakes get made. Write it down. So my two negatives cancel each other. 2 times 2 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So the x-coordinate of my vertex is 3. Okay. Now I have to find the y-coordinate. To find the y-coordinate, I take 3, plug it into the original problem for x, and simplify. Y equals 2 times 3 squared minus 12 times 3 plus 11. And then you work it out. 3 squared is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. 12 times 3 is 36. 18 minus 36 is negative 18. Negative 18 plus 11 is negative 7. So the y-coordinate of my vertex is negative 7. Okay, so my vertex, 3, negative 7. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. Does it open up or down? Look at my x squareds. I am right. X squareds, positive or negative? Positive. It opens up. And you have to know if it opens up or not to know whether you have a max or a min. So I have my vertex, axis of symmetry, AOS is x equals 3. Remember, it's the x equals the x-coordinate of my vertex. And then I have a min at y equals negative 7. Questions on the first one? Second one, same thing. I need to find the x-coordinate of my vertex. X equals minus b over 2 times a in this case is -1. Because I have -1x squared. So I have -4 over -2, which is 2. So my x-coordinate of my vertex is 2. To find the y-coordinate, I take 2, plug it in for x squared, or plug it in for x. Y equals -2 squared plus 4 times 2 minus 5. Square first, then apply the negative. Okay, so 2 squared is 4. -4 plus 8 is 4. 4 minus 5 is -1. So the y-coordinate of my vertex is -1. So I have a vertex at 2, -1. Does this one open up or down? It opens down because I have a negative x squared. My axis of symmetry is x equals 2. And then I have on this one a maximum of y equals -1. And once more for good luck. X equals minus b over 2 times a. B is -4, A is -2. So I have 3 negatives, and it's all multiplication division, so I'm going to get negatives. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So the x-coordinate of my vertex is -1. My y-coordinate, I'm going to roll this up for a minute. Y-coordinate is -2 times -1 squared minus 4 times -1 plus 6. -1 squared is 1 times -2 is -2. -4 times -1 is 4. -2 plus 4 is 2. 2 plus 6 is 8. So my vertex is -1, 8. -1, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. And does this one open up or down? It opens down because I've got a -2. So it opens down. My axis of symmetry, AOS, x equals x-coordinate of my vertex, -1. And then on this one, I have a maximum at y equals 8. Because it opens down, so I have a high point and a low point. Okay, questions? A lot going on, not a big deal. Your turn. And yes, you guys have 3. Do all 3. Okay, here we go. Same idea that we just did. Vertex, sketch the parabola, list the vertex, axis symmetry, max or min, and the y-intercept. Ooh, didn't do the y-intercept on the last one, so we'll have to add it here. Y-intercept is really easy to find on these. So the first thing you do, minus b over 2a. So x equals minus -6 over 2 times 1, which is 3. So 3 is the x-coordinate of my vertex. The y-coordinate, take 3, plug it in for x. Y equals 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 2. 3 squared is 9. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 minus 9 minus 18 is -9. -9 plus 2 is -7. So my vertex is 3, -7. Now, my y-intercept, there's two ways to find it. One, and this will always work, let x equal 0. But if it's in standard form and I let x equal 0, this is 0, this is 0, and I get 2. My y-intercept is 2. So I know it goes through here. My vertex is 3, negative 7, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it goes up through there. There's my parabola. Okay. Standard form, C, the C by itself is your y-intercept. Makes it easy. Do I have, what's my axis of symmetry? AOS is x equals 3. So I have a max or a min. I have a minimum at y equals negative 7. Okay. Same thing on the next one. Minus b over 2a, x equals minus 8 over 4 times 2, so that's negative 1. That makes it easy. So the x-coordinate of my vertex is negative 1. The y-coordinate, y equals 4 times negative 1 squared plus 8 times negative 1 plus 5. Negative 1 squared is 1, times 4 is 4. Negative 1 times 8 is negative 8. 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Plus 5 is 1. So there's my vertex. My y-intercept is 5. So this one goes through the point negative 1, 1. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my y-intercept. And it's symmetric, so kind of looks like that. My axis of symmetry is x equals negative 1. And I have a minimum on this one at y equals 1. Last one, same idea. X equals minus b over 2 times a. Negative 4 over 2 times negative 2, which is 1. Makes it easy. So my x-coordinate, my vertex is 1. My y-coordinate is negative 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1 minus 5. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. So my x-coordinate is negative 3. My y-intercept is negative 5. So when I go to graph, I have 1, negative 3, and negative 5 is my y-intercept. Axis of symmetry goes down the middle. My axis of symmetry, x equals 1, and I have a maximum of y equals negative 3. Questions? Okay. List the vertex and put the equation into vertex form. Okay. First thing, remember vertex form, y equals a x minus h squared plus k. Now, there is nothing in front of the x squared. All my x squareds are 1, so my a will be 1. My a will be 1. Makes it easy. H H is the x-coordinate of my vertex. So it's minus the x-coordinate. My x-coordinate of my vertex is 2, it's x minus 2. If my x-coordinate of my vertex is negative 3, it's x minus negative 3 or x plus 3. That's where you get to going in the opposite directions on your x's for your vertex. The k is the y-coordinate of my vertex. And it's the same. Y-coordinate's 1, it's plus 1. Y-coordinate's negative 3, it's negative 3. It's minus 3 on the end. But h and k come from your vertex. H is the x-coordinate. K is the y-coordinate of my vertex. We're going to rewrite this equation in that form. It's going to be y equals parentheses x minus something squared plus or minus something. That's what we're going to do. To do that, we need to find the vertex, which we just got done doing. X coordinate of the vertex minus b over 2 times a. We just did this. Same thing. So I get negative 1. So the y-coordinate is negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 7. So I get 1 minus 2 is negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8. So my vertex is negative 1, negative 8. Now, a times x minus h squared. Remember what I told you? Your a is going to be 1. This is 1 in front here. You don't have to worry about the a because of that. So you're going to have y equals x minus something squared plus or minus something. And this number come from here. X minus h plus k. The x-coordinate of my vertex, the y-coordinate of my vertex. And then to make it look prettier, y equals x plus 1 squared minus 8. Vertex form. It's actually really easy to do if you have 1x squared. Again, x equals minus b over 2 times a. I get 2 this time. Take 2, plug it in for x squared, for x. Y equals 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 9. Y equals 4 minus 8, negative 4 plus 9 is 5. What? Mackenzie? Question? Okay. So I get 2, 5 for my vertex. Plug it in. That part always stays the same. I plug in 2 and I add 5. Vertex 1. X coordinate of my vertex, y coordinate of my vertex. And once more for good luck. X equals minus b over 2a. I get 4. Negative negative 8 divided by 2, 4. Y equals 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 13. 16 minus 32 is negative 16. Negative 16 plus 13 is negative 3. Is anybody but me seeing a pattern with your x squared and your x's? You should. By now, if you've been doing this, you should see a pattern between what you get for here, 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 what you get for here. It's been that way on all of them that we have done today. There's a pattern to it. If you see that pattern, it makes your life easier. If not, it's not that big a deal. So my vertex is 4, negative 3. Once again, this part never changes. You just fill in the blanks. 4 and minus 3. Questions? Your turn. Do those. Okay, here we go. So once again, x equals minus b over 2 times a. I get negative 3. Y equals negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 12. Y equals negative 3 squared is 9. Minus 18, negative 9 plus 12 is 3. So I get negative 3, 3. So I get y equals x minus negative 3 squared plus 3. Or I can make that x plus 3 squared plus 3. Same thing on the next one. X equals minus negative 8 over 2 times 1, which is 4. Y equals 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 15. 16 minus 32, negative 16 plus 15. Y, equals negative 1. So I get 4, negative 1 for my vertex. Y equals x minus 4 squared minus 1. Last one, x equals minus negative 2 over 2 times 1, which is 1. Y equals 1 squared minus 2 times 1 plus 6, which is 5. Yeah. So I get 1, 5. So y equals x minus 1 squared plus 5. Questions? I do believe that's it. So not a big deal covering 2 lessons today.